Hello, people. My name is Kirby Obsidian, and I'm here to talk about America post the 2024 presidential election. I'm just emerging out of my shock and gloom. Uh, I was on the losing side this time. I've been on the losing side quite often in my life, and normally, rebound, get back to normal life. But this time feels different. It feels like some potential dangers that were somewhat remote that seemed like they wouldn't materialize because Kamala was going to win. Suddenly, those things are like in my face. So I've been thinking about the uh, collapse of uh, the Ukrainian resistance, which seems sadly quite likely now. I think about Gaza being left to Netanyahu's whims, already deeply um, in the process of genocide and that continuing. How far might it go with Trump just giving Netanyahu free rein? I think about the effort to combat climate change. As feeble as it's been, it's about to get a whole lot more feeble, at least as so far as the United States is concerned. And one of the more haunting things is the prospect of Trump with his penchant for, you know, uh, sending out messages in the middle of the night, such as, I hate Taylor Swift, nonsense like that. His comments about putting generals in front of firing squads, his talk about investigating the Biden crime family. I wonder how far that's going to go. I wonder how long it might be before he decides he's going to shut down certain newspapers, arrest certain journalists. He was speaking about arresting people who speak out against the Supreme Court. And of course, none of these things are legal, and all of them are very much in the playbook of would be dictators. And maybe none of it happens, and maybe a lot of it does. And a lot of it may just depend on how vigilant we are against that. I think of Italy when Mussolini came into power, and there was a demand for having the trains run on time, and apparently they did once he got set up. But at what price? I think of Germany when Hitler was invited to take over the government because the government was chaotic. There'd been a series of chancellors, they'd all been ineffectual, and it was thought, well, maybe Hitler can restore order. Well, he did restore order, and that order looked a whole lot different than people had anticipated. So now there's a clamoring for affordable eggs and affordable gasoline. And I'm not mocking those who want those things. It's great to be able to feed your family and get to work and have your home and all that, but at what cost? That's my big concern, my big fear right now, that the cost is going to be way more than we have bargained for. So I think we have to be really vigilant now. I look back on the last few months, and I've been, I've sent some money to some of the campaigns. I made a few phone calls right before the election. I wore my Kamala shirt, but mostly I was an observer of democracy. And I'm reminded that Obama, one of the things I admire about him, and I guess it was the community organizer in him, he always said something about us citizens getting involved, not being passive witnesses to democracy. Democracy demands participation. And I know that for myself, my participation was not enough. I happen to live in Canada, as I have for many years, but I maintain my citizenship. I vote in every election. I go back and forth to the US. And I'm going to up my participation. I was listening to Rachel Maddow yesterday, and she was suggesting that we all link up, that we form partnerships, that we join up with others so that we're not doing this alone. And I think that's very good advice. And I intend to join up and link up. I'm not sure exactly how, I'm not sure exactly what I will do, but this is kind of a first step for me, declaring my intention to be a voice and to be a presence. And I hope that each of us will choose to be a voice and a presence. That's one of the things that history shows has deterred would-be dictators in their early efforts. I can't remember who to attribute the saying to, but there's the when they came for the Jews, did you say anything? When they came for the protesters and the journalists, did you say anything? Well, next thing you know, they're coming for you. Let's not let that happen. Let's be vigilant and let's speak up and speak out at the very first encroachments that Trump attempts to make to weaken journalism, to stifle the courts, to turn the Justice Department into his own personal tool of vengeance. I don't want to get into this whole thing about enemies within and evil people. There's been way too much of that. I am willing to say there are a lot of misguided people out there. There are a lot of people who enjoy their willful blindness. And I lament all the Trump supporters who they talk about how they say he's the honest one, and they just willfully maintain their blindness to all his blatant lies. They're so obvious. They're not even difficult to check. But let's be generous to those on the other side. Let's approach them in love and understanding that they want good for their families and their communities just as we do, however misguided we may feel they are. And let's be humble enough to remove our own blinders and realize we don't have all the answers either. And I expect I'll be doing more of these. I hope that to join up with some of you out there, with more of you, and be part of the broad, many faceted army of resistors to what Trump has boasted about. And let's all be a part of restoring America's sanity. And that's it for this time.